In part one of this two-part podcast, I gave you two numbers. 88% of executives saying that AI is their edge, but only 4% have gotten repeatable value of it. And I gave you three words that explain the gap between the 96% and the 4%. It's access, adoption, and advantage. If you ran the adoption check I asked you to run last week, you'll know how to find the real number of your team members that are actually using AI, and the gap between the seats that you pay for and the seats that people are actually using. Today, we're going to close that gap. I'm going to give you a method to prove value on a single workflow in a way to call BS on the vendor's promises that they're making to you, and one organizational move that'll scale all of it without making you the bottleneck. I'm Zach Engler, Chief AI Officer at C4 Technical Services. This is the AI for Executives podcast. Let's build the advantage together. The 4% don't try to transform the whole company at once. They prove value on one thing and measure it, and then scale from proof instead of from hope. All right, so here's the method. I call it proof of one. You can run it yourself this week with no consultants, no platforms, no budget requests, just you, a team member, and AI. So step one, pick one recurring task, something a person on your team does every week that takes real time, and that involves something like writing, summarizing, researching, or analyzing. A weekly report is a great example. A first draft of a proposal, cleaning up meeting notes and turning them into action items. Pick something boring and frequent, not something flashy and rare. Why? Because boring and frequent is what AI does best. Step two, you're going to baseline it. So do a time study and time that task in the normal way it's done by hand. Write it down and track it 3 times, not once, because 1 time is a fluke and 3 will be an actual pattern. While you're at it, note the quality, not just the clock. Did it need a second pass, or did someone have to fix it, or was it done right the first time? Step 3 is you're going to run it with AI 3 times as well. Same task, same person, but now using AI to help get the task done more efficiently, more effectively. And again, you're going to time it and note the quality as well. Step 4, look at the delta. The difference between your time by hand and your time with AI, and the difference between your quality by hand and your quality with AI. This is your real first unit of advantage, not a vendor's claim. This is yours. It's measured, it's on your real work, and it's done by your people. Step 5, and this is the one that everybody skips, come back in 30 days and check if they're still doing it that way. If the person kept using AI for the task a month later without being reminded, you didn't just save time once, you changed the behavior. That's adoption. That's the bridge that we're trying to build with the training services that we offer at C4. 1 task, 1 person, 1 month. The whole method ties together, and it works because it's small enough to actually finish. It doesn't get in the way of your current workflows, and it's concrete enough to actually believe because the numbers are there and you can show it to your team. You can show it to your board. You can show it to the other staff members that can see the tangible results of how AI can improve the work that's being done at your business. So once you've measured one real workflow, something useful happens. You get calibrated and you can start smelling fake numbers. So let me hand you a calibration tool. Think of this as a range of what AI productivity gains actually look like in the real world, so you can sanity check any promises that you're getting from other vendors, including the one that we'd make. So at the bottom, around 10% productivity gains are typically what we see in a worst case scenario when adopting a new AI tool, something like Copilot, Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini. People are logging in, they're using it a little, but it's pretty modest. In the middle, somewhere around 36% productivity gains for the general workforce is what we typically see when the tools are actually trained, supported, and adopted. Not just a one-time webinar, but month-over-month usage. Higher up, power users are seeing anywhere from 60 to 80% productivity gains with the use of these AI tools in consistent scenarios. And these are the folks that are hungry for AI. They want to use it. They're trying to find new ways of adopting and adapting it to their work and their work stream. And at the very top, when you find that purpose-built custom AI system doing narrow, repetitive, high-volume work, sometimes you can see anywhere from 300 to 1,000% productivity gains. But you can't get there without training, without adoption, and regular usage. So here's how you can use that range. When a vendor promises you your average back office team the kind of gain that only a custom system with a narrow task produces, you know you should probably push back because that number isn't impossible, but it's attached to the wrong context. Match the promise to the situation, and if they don't, that's your signal. In other words, if a vendor is promising you 500%, 1,000% productivity gains. What they're talking about is the eventual adoption you might get to when a highly customized tool is rolled out across your entire organization. The more practical angle would be rolling out useful tips and tricks, prompting best practices, daily workflow utilization that's really going to be tied more in that 30 to 60% range for the average user. I'm giving you this so you can hold me to the same standard. Anyone selling you at the top of the ladder for the middle of your organization is trying to sell you hype and not the real result. So you've proven value on one workflow, right? You did the time study, you inserted AI and you saw the benefit. That's great. Now comes the question that determines whether you're going to join the 4% of effective AI users who are seeing an advantage with AI, or the 96% who say they have an advantage but don't have real adoption. So it's the question you should be asking is, who keeps doing this after today? If the answer is just you, the executive, you've built a bottleneck, and you can't personally run proof of one on every team. You can't approve every tool request, and the moment you try to, two things will happen. Either everything will slow down and wait on you, or people will stop waiting and go grab whatever tool they want on their own. The first situation will kill your speed. And the second is how you end up with tool sprawl and shadow AI and company data leaking into apps nobody ever approved. But there is a better answer, and it sits in the middle of your organization, not at the top, but at the center. A small, empowered group that we call an AI Center of Excellence. They can run the entire process on your behalf. And I want to be precise about how this works because most people picture a committee, a steering group that slows things down. And this is the opposite of that. So think of it as a two-way valve. First, it pushes capabilities out to the team. The Center of Excellence, or COE, gets vetted tools, solid training, and standardized rules into the hands of your team fast, without every request having to climb all the way up to the C-suite for a signature. That's how you kill your bottleneck. It pushes decisions up when something genuinely needs leadership, a real budget call, a real policy gap, a real risk to the organization. The COE has a clear line to escalate to you, but it doesn't have to be everything. It's just a few things that matter, not everything. And that's how you stay in control of what actually requires your attention as the executive overseeing AI. And it also helps hold the center. So if you have one approved tool set and one way of measuring things and one set of rules that everyone follows, now you can stop tool sprawl before it starts because the team gets fast, sanctioned yeses faster. And although the tool may not be exactly what they want, it's enough to get them through their work without them having to go rogue. That's what middle out means. Not top down, where you're the bottleneck, and not bottom up, where there's pure chaos, but a body in the middle with the authority to move fast and the discipline to escalate when it counts. I've watched organizations stand up exactly this structure and then expand AI across the whole company much more fluidly because suddenly there was someone whose job it was to make adoption happen every day, not just at kickoff, but a go-to resource that was trusted by both the executives and the wider teams to help get them the real practical, pragmatic use cases and demonstrations and solutions when they needed it. Okay, so you don't need a formal charter, a budget, or a reorg to start this journey. You just need to plant the seed tomorrow. So here's the move. Ask each team to name one person as their AI point person. Just one. That person who should already be somebody who's curious about AI. Maybe they're already somewhat tinkering with it, or at least they're already the ones asking for help to incorporate AI into the work that they do. And that's it. You've just created an informal network across your entire company, and those point people will start talking to each other. They'll share what works. They'll start fielding questions from their teams. They're the seed at your center of excellence. It costs you nothing to do it, and it starts the middle out engine turning today, long before you formalize any sort of committee or budget or plan. Later, you give that network a budget, and you give them a mandate, and you give them a line to escalate things. But the network comes first, and that network starts with one question to each team: who's your point person going to be? So the 4% of companies who win with AI aren't smarter, they aren't richer, they aren't more talented. They just refuse to confuse access with advantage. They build the bridge in between, which is adoption, and they build it on purpose with a center of excellence and a team that's engaged. So here's your path. Run the adoption check to get your real number of people using AI now. Then run your proof of one to see how that one person with one workflow can go from manual to using AI. That gives you your measured win. Then use that productivity gain ladder to keep yourself and your vendors honest. And then name your champions across your organizations and start that middle out center of excellence so they can scale and win across the company. So you get the advantage without having to become the bottleneck. The baseline is one task: measure, repeat, and use. Spread that out across your entire organization. Stand up the COE to scale it, and that's literally the whole game. The gap between companies that are treating AI as a strategic asset and building the reflexes within their teams and leveraging these centers of excellence is the difference between you and the productivity gains that you want to see tomorrow. That gap is only widening, and as the year goes on, I think we're going to see that gap potentially get so wide that it starts becoming insurmountable for some companies. That's where C4 comes in. We're happy to help address that gap with you. We can help build your AI training, your AI strategy, and custom AI agents that can support the workflows your teams are doing. And in fact, we oftentimes run that in parallel, where we will start a pilot project, do an audit of a team process, and get an automation in the works and ready, while we're also rolling out a multi-week training to your team. That way, when your team's done with training, the new tool is available for them to use, and they know how to use it from day one. Once that rolls out, you now have your pilot use case you can showcase to your executive team, to your board, and you can hit the ground running with other parts of your business that'll add value on day one. That being said, thank you so much for watching today's episode. I'm Zach Engler, Chief AI Officer for C4 Tech Services. If you haven't yet clicked the subscribe button, please do so. If this is interesting to you, we're going to be coming out with more exciting episodes talking about how AI gets folded into executive workflows, how AI gets folded into business. We're also going to start interviewing some executives and how they're using AI in the near future as well. And then also, if you haven't gone to c4techservices.com and tried our AI readiness survey, please go ahead and check that out. If you're just getting started, that's a great point for you to see where your business fits in the whole AI adoption cycle. And from there, we can follow up and reach out for next steps. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next episode.